Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, today I have Irina Schwan on the line, and she is the co-founder over at Healthiest Chef. Irina, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam. And I really love the name Mission Matters, and I feel privileged to be here.
All right. Well, I feel privileged that I got to eat your food. I was just talking when we were doing for everybody listening, when we were doing the warm-up, I was looking at this and I'm like, wait a minute, I know her. And then I saw the name and then I was like, oh, I still remember the food. It was so good. So we met, correct me if I'm wrong, we met last year at Health Span Summit. And you know what's funny about that too? Guess who I just interviewed not even an hour ago? Elias Arjan, who was the founder of Health Span Summit. That's hilarious. That's the universe. Just bringing everybody together. I can't even make that up. And that's hilarious. But I did have the opportunity for everybody listening to eat this delicious food, and I got to see the plans and everything else that was going on. And I guess just to get us kicked off, before we get into Healthiest Chef, I want to know, how did you get into this space in general? Like, how did you learn your craft?
I have finance background, and I'm an entrepreneur since I was 21 or 20.
Mm-hmm.
I worked in tech for a decade, worked for big companies, but my passion was always wellness. Because when you work in tech, you don't really see the impact. It's all numbers and people earning money, losing money. I worked in crypto for some time, and it didn't make any sense. So for me, wellness is my pain, my personal pain, and it's my life's mission. And it all started to unveil when I moved to the U.S. because I faced various health issues. And I think you probably know it, number one killer in the U.S. is heart disease, and number one cause of it is nutrition. So basically, I got very sick, and it was so bad that I wanted to leave back and go back to my home country. And this is when I met my co-founder. I think you met her as well, Natalie. And she was working for athletes and celebrities at the time. She was meal prepping for them. And she created a menu for me where she eliminated the foods. And the best part, she taught me how to do it in 2-3 hours. Like for the whole week, I had all those amazing meals. And I healed myself. And as a product person, as an entrepreneur, I was like, okay, what if everybody can have this food available? And I just, looking back, I understand that as a busy professional, like my choices were very limited. Processed meals, Uber Eats, meal delivery services. I don't think we have to go into details. Everybody knows like how bad it is. And I think like our concepts of food are very perverted. And I think as entrepreneurs, we go after some mission, some idea. And I think this is a very big problem because yes, we need to eat food that re-energizes us. So food is fuel, right? So fatty, crappy food packed with sugars and chemicals is not capable to fuel success, to fuel our big dreams. So I think we need food for the champions.
Ooh, I like that. Food for the champions. I'm in. So let's go further into that. How can busy for professionals kind of keep this on top of mind and not, because there's going to be some people listening to this episode and they're like, I know that all makes sense, but how? How do I do it? So tell me more.
So I think when we need to talk about nutrition, we need to look at data and studies. And I know there's a lot of debates about nutrition, but again, there's blue zones. I don't know if any of the guests mentioned blue zones before, but that's probably a big one. Their founder is on our program too in Healthiest Chef. Basically, they studied habits of centenarians for like 50 years, and they found certain traits. It is nutrition. It's other pillars too, such as socializing and moving a lot in a very aerobic manner. And there are quite a few interesting findings out there. Of course, they were eating whole food, plant-based, so only whole foods, no processed food. And interestingly, those areas were in a very modest location, so Costa Rica, right? So like my myth about nutrition longevity was that, it's only for the rich people. In reality, it's vice versa, right? So those people that were eating very modestly, and thus they develop all those healthy habits. Another big study was the twin studies by Harvard. Professor Christopher Gardner, he's the head of nutrition at Stanford, was the one that was leading this investigation. They were comparing like different diets, and some diets actually lengthened the telomeres, the very biomarkers of aging. So, and we have Brian Johnson too, one of the most studied humans on earth right now, and we can see what he eats. And I think it's just like, I like to simplify things, right? I would say number one thing to understand is that it's all about diversity. So you need to be eating diversity of foods. So it's not about just one superfood or eating pineapples all day. It's about healing through the diversity. It's number one, very easy. So then the next rule is whole foods, right? And then organic, preferably regeneratively organic. We can talk about it a little bit more. And we place a lot of focus on detox right now because we live in a very toxic environment. So glutathione-rich foods help with natural detoxification. So we do have, we need to understand we're an organism and we actually have everything to be successful and healthy. So first we need to realize it's not like one big bet, one superfood or one change that you make. No, it's like 1% better attitude, like in business, like in sports. No unicorns here. And it takes time to build traction. With nutrition, with longevity, so 2-3 years, and you can actually see the results. And I think mindfulness probably the same timeline. But our body regulates itself. So all you need to do is to eat well, sleep well, and if you have a great lifestyle, you don't need supplements. I just had my results returned. I'm 13 years younger than my biological age, and I don't take any supplements. I don't do anything crazy. I don't do any crazy exercises all day long. It's just very balanced lifestyle, and it doesn't require spending a lot of money. So, and I think that's one of the reasons when we were thinking about the product, we were thinking, okay, we can do a meal delivery, right? People will be paying all this money and they'll be eating this amazing food, but we want to help anyone, like people like me, busy professionals. So I think we developed a product where people actually spend less money. They're spending $125 per week per person, and they're eating the best longevity food on the planet. So they're actually saying that they're saving like $40,000 a year on food because it doesn't even include the medical bills and concierge services.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that makes so much sense. And how are you doing this? Give us some of the let's add. This is a good transition actually. Let's talk a little bit more about Healthiest Chef and how you're accomplishing this. How you're helping to realize this mission.
It's funny you mentioned taste in the beginning, and I think taste is a very important factor because if you're not looking forward to the meals, and that was my trouble when I had to go on those elimination diets, it kind of takes the pleasure out of life. And I don't know if you heard of vagus nerve. So basically there is a nerve that goes directly from the gut to the brain, and whatever microbiome feels, we feel it. So for example, if our microbiome isn't happy, we feel unhappy or we feel anxiety. Like I was very anxious when I was having gut issues. And that was because of that connection, actually. So can we link it back to the question? Because I think I started
Yeah, no. So how are you accomplishing this? Yeah, with Healthiest Chef.
So with the taste. So the taste is very important because if your microbiome is happy, you feel happy. And it needs to be tasty. That's number one. And we actually recently have a chef, a famous French chef. He came to have a private masterclass with us. And he was crying when he was trying the soup. It was really interesting to see that. So taste, number one. Second, honestly, like anywhere, it's discipline, but it actually saves time and money down the line. So basically, you allocate 2-3 hours to make the meals for the week. We have all the instructions. We have links to the groceries. The groceries get delivered to your door from Whole Foods. It's very, very easy. In those 2-3 hours, with all the equipment, like, say, food processor or blenders, you make the food, and you just repeat it every week. And get younger.
I love it. I love this idea. It makes so much sense. And what I like about this is that you even have so maybe go into the program just a little bit. So you said you could get it. All the ingredients are there for you. All of it. It's definitely a master class. I've been on the website, by the way, healthiestchef.com. So for everybody that's watching or listening to this, you can definitely go check it out. And I'm looking at some of the program highlights that you have on there, whether it's overnight oats or tofu scramble or dragon power smoothie or citrusy fennel chowder. I mean, I'm getting hungry just reading this, actually.
I think you tried the chowder and the bread, and we're actually also going to have bean stroganoff coming up. So we're always updating. So we're updating with new weeks, with new recipes, and so far we didn't even have, because we have like a 7-day return policy. Like if somebody doesn't like the food, they can just request their money back, and we never had it so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, Irina, this has been a lot of fun having you on the show today and learning more about Healthiest Chef. If somebody's listening or watching this and they want to connect with you and your team, Irina, what's the best way for them to do that? How do they connect?
So I think I will leave a link to our free masterclass. So we're going to have two coming out, one on environmental toxins with environmental toxicity doctor. Another one will be a masterclass, again, free on nutritional fundamentals with head of nutrition from Stanford. So I will leave a link. And if you have any questions, you can just text me maybe on Instagram, Irina Swan, and I'll be happy to help.
Fantastic. And for anybody listening to this, just so you know, we'll definitely leave everything in the show notes so you can connect with Irina. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way in your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Irina, I look forward to watching the continued growth and success of Healthiest Chef and to taste some more of your food too coming up soon. So thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys are great.